Okay. First and foremost, still feeling a little under the weather, but I'm gonna bear with it, and we're gonna take a look at the new Nux Taku drop. Looks like we're talking about the Epstein files. Yeah, this is me testing out the live 2D avatar that I made. I obviously not perfect. Definitely want to work on the mouth and like mouth forms a little bit more and add some, you know, I put some animation onto the ears when I tilt, but I need to do kind of like the x-axis for the face changing, and I want to add some movement to the hair as well. So we'll see. All in all, it was a learning experience. It was really fun, so it was pretty exciting. But enough about me. Let's get into generational sex offender Bill Clinton. Yeah, I saw this news yesterday, and part of me is like, oh geez, maybe Big Bill's got nothing to worry about. But then another part of me kind of wonders if this is like 4D chess, where you know, he knows they're not gonna release everything, right? So if you call for it and it doesn't happen, it just, you know, you don't look any worse for it. So kind of wondering if that's what it is, because I mean, just the frequency alone of how often he showed up in the Epstein files, at least that I've seen, it's kind of hard to imagine that he wasn't involved in some creepy shit. So I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna plug my headphones in, and then I'll sit down, click play, and we will check this out together. Oops. I'll have to edit that in post, which means I'm not going to do it. There we go.
There was a whole new batch of Epstein files that got leaked by accident. The Trump administration didn't know that this got out there, but somehow people managed to get their hands on it, and they already took down all those files. There is a huge update on this entire campaign. It's insane. I have them. Well, some people have them. Get ready. So Bill Clinton's office demands full transparency with the Epstein files. Oh boy. So this is after Bill Clinton got mega exposed in the files.
Mega exposed.
Diabolical image sets of all time. So anyway, here's the statement from the spokesman for former President Bill Clinton. The Epstein Files Transparency Act imposes a clear legal duty on the U.S. Department of Justice to produce the full and complete record of public domains and preserves. However, what the Department of Justice released so far in the manner in which they did so made one thing clear: someone or something is being protected. We don't know whom, what, or why, but we do know this: we need no such protection. Yeah, because they already exposed Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton like, if I'm going down, you're coming with me. No, they want transparency.
Bill Clinton's been exposed before, is the thing, right? Where, I mean, obviously Monica Lewinsky, that's like the most famous example, but even when he was the governor of Arkansas, you know, there were numerous allegations made. You know, one that famously gets brought up is the one where it was Hillary, I believe, prosecuting the woman who came forward, and you know, she was, I don't remember if it was a hot mic or if she was just quoted after the fact as like laughing about it, essentially. And you know, I mean, if you're married to Bill, you know how Bill is, so essentially it's, you know, that was a big mark against Hillary, where you know, claiming to be for women and claiming to be feminist and all of that, and that got drudged up, I believe, during the 2016 election cycle.
After Bill Clinton proceeded to shit himself constantly for getting exposed, Bubba was surrounded by children in, you know, special Epstein spas. All right. After all that happens, all of a sudden we want all the files exposed. Now that Bill Clinton got completely exposed by these files, now that the Biden administration refused to release the files for 4 years for some reason. But anyway, someone actually asked old Bill about the files.
Mr. Clinton, any comments on the allegation of Epstein?
Are you still talking about Jeffrey?
No.
Oh my God.
Regrets. bro. No regrets. He just laughs at him.
Was Jeffrey Epstein?
Bro! That's
crazy.
That's crazy. So Trump's been going a little bit nuclear. On the Epstein thing. And he's kind of right about some of them. So, obviously, New York Post, Tubba Bubba, Clinton frolics with mystery girls and Epstein file dump. Yeah, this is just Tubba Bubba in the pool with some Epstein women.
Well, girls, not just women,
now,
right?
On
I mean,
CNN,
that looked like...
they've been having something of a...
Like, I don't know, if that's a full-sized man, then... I mean, it's not a perfect picture, but that definitely looks like that's probably either a very short woman or probably a girl. And that's kind of where, you know, you get into the... Like, I understand why they need to protect the victims and protect their identities and not out everybody. And I don't know. I would never go so far as to say, like, oh, well, if I was a victim of Jeffrey Epstein, I would want everything out there, including my face. I just, you know, they all went through different traumas and different problems, and, you know, they were abused in different ways, and it's just, I mean, the whole thing's, you know, fucked up. So as frustrating as it is to where, like, you can't always confirm or deny, like, is that an underage girl, is it not, because that changes the implications, right, on Bill here. But it's, I think they've been through enough. And honestly, apart from catching and either castrating or killing any pedos that are outed, apart from that, the second priority is protecting the victims from any further trauma, scrutiny, like whatever.
Epstein women. All right. Now, on CNN, they've been having something of a generational meltdown. All right, a generational meltdown. So this is Scott Jennings from CNN, and he's been absolutely dog walking the rest of. He's like the one conservative on CNN, and he's been humiliating everyone else.
Look, they've released how many documents tonight? 200,000. More? 400?
10% of that's
okay.
5%.
So a good faith effort is being made to release files tonight.
Really?
They're obviously doing that, and I think.
Yeah. So my hot take is I don't really think that this is a good.
Oh
faith.
hell no.
I don't really think this is super good faith, to be honest. But anyway, continue.
It relates to redactions. I mean, my impression is that there's a whole lot of names of victims in there and minors and other people that they wouldn't want to release, and they do need to be redacted. Regarding Bill Clinton, I'm sorry to tell you, the reason that Bill Clinton's picture is in the Epstein files is because this has always been a story about Bill Clinton and not Donald Trump. We want the Clinton files, not the Epstein files.
Oh,
That's what we're learning tonight. This is the Clinton files.
You
This is the
are
blowing up
silly.
in the face of the Democrats over this.
Let's-
It's Bill Clinton. This is a story about Democrats and Bill Clinton,
That's
and it's
a
always been
random-
that.
Pictures of Donald.
Look.
Oh my god. So bro actually cooked. So I do think that Bondi and Kash Patel should probably be in jail for the bad faith way that this was handled. The
Maybe
fact that
not
we
jail.
got
Definitely impeached, and removed from office. Like Pam Bondi, I think has been a flat tire like this whole time, where there have been zero convictions, zero. I mean, I guess there's been a couple arrests, right? I think I saw Michael Bolton was indicted, but even that's not 100% yet, right? So it's like, you know, it's frustrating because it's, you know, you get sold during campaigns. You know, everybody makes campaign promises that they later, you know, go back on or they just can't fulfill. And I think one of the biggest ones that Trump pushed that got him elected was, I mean, one, Epstein, right? The Epstein list, releasing the Epstein list. And then we learned, oh, there's not actually a list. I mean, there's a bunch of files, but there's no, like, list of names, right? So then it's like, okay, well, give us the files. Let us go through the files, figure out who's who. And then it's, oh, well, we're gonna release them. We're not gonna release them. We're gonna release them. We're not gonna release them. And then, oh, we're gonna release them. And then there's gonna be just redactions out the wazoo, which again, I understand that some redactions are necessary, but even the law, the Epstein Transparency Act, I believe, required them to explain any redactions made when they release the files. So every single black square, every single blocked out line is supposed to have an explanation of, this was redacted because it depicts the face of a victim. This was redacted because, and so on and so forth. And I have, you know, these aren't like the official files. This is a compilation of the files that was getting passed around on Twitter, just so that, you know, we had them before anything funky happened, which again happened again because the DOJ accidentally released a bunch of stuff and then quickly like pulled it back. So some people have those, you know, they downloaded them and had them. So I'm hoping that we can just keep passing everything around, like whether it's from leaks or whether it's from insiders trying to get more information out there. Because yeah, everybody who is incriminated by this needs to get investigated thoroughly, and anybody found guilty of any shenanigans in and around the island, on the plane, whatever, I don't give a fuck. They need to either be castrated or killed. Castrated / jailed for life, or killed. Just my 2 cents.
No idea of any of these people that were criminals. Sure. But, dude, the Clinton files is catchy.
It's kind of catchy, I will admit.
That Pam Bondi wanted to release all the files, and all of a sudden she didn't, and then all of a sudden she has files to release, only 10% of them, 5% which are new, and they happen to only have photos
It is
of
weird.
Bill Clinton.
It is weird for sure.
Explain to me why you think that
Did you feel that
was holding so tight to the Bill Clinton photos.
Did you feel this way about the oversight Democrat document dump the other day when they put out a picture of Donald Trump at some unrelated issue and redacted faces of adult people who had nothing to do with Epstein at all?
Oh, shit.
Were you having righteous indignation?
Let me tell you, I actually believe.
So let's get this straight. The Democrats are super offended that they're posting pictures of Bill Clinton with random women with their face blurred out. But the Democrats don't really seem to mind that the Democrat Oversight Committee is releasing images of Trump with random adult women that have nothing to do with Epstein with their faces blurred out.
To basically create an implication, right? I think the most glaring example of this is Trump, which I believe we do not have any confirmation that he'd ever been to the island, but he'd been on the plane, and on the plane there was a picture of him with a young girl, like maybe like early teens, sitting on his lap, and her face was blurred out, right? Or it was boxed out, like with the redaction square. And you know, obviously that creates an impression, that creates an implication, but lo and behold, it's an old photo, and it was literally Ivanka. Like, his daughter was just sitting on his lap, they took a photo together. So it's like, there's spin in both directions for sure, and I do find it weird that the 10% that was released, only 5% of it's new, and the 5% that's new almost exclusively has like left-wing people. I forget the lady who looks like Oprah, she was in there. Michael Jackson showed up a few times, and obviously Bill Clinton was kind of the star of the show. So I just, you know, information's a weapon, and in the fog of war like this, they're always gonna try to make themselves look better. And I'm talking about, you know, Republican versus Democrat. Although it does still beg the question that if the Biden DOJ had the Epstein files for 4 years, like why didn't they do anything about it? I think that's a pretty important question too. And maybe it's because, it's a 70-30 issue. Like, there's more Democrats than there are Republicans who are going to get hit by the fallout. Maybe it's, there's a certain number of like really prominent party members that they just don't want to like tank their careers, or it's donors. Like, who knows? Because, like, I mean, Bill Gates is apparently, I haven't been through all of them, but Bill Gates is mentioned, like, surrounding these files a lot. And I mean, obviously, you know, he was the richest man in the world at one point, so I mean, he's got a lot of sway. Yeah, I don't know.
Make him look like a pedophile.
That the only thing that they should be redacting are the faces of victims.
Yes, I do agree with that.
I think they should. I don't think that they should.
And the victims are mad at the oversight done to Chris.
Yeah, so my hot take is everyone's retarded. I
Yeah,
think
that's fair.
everyone's
That's
covering
fair.
up this shit, and it's completely insufferable.
Epstein as well. So, I mean,
Not a shred of evidence about Donald Trump at any time doing anything untoward.
Nor of evidence about Bill Clinton doing
Democrats
anything
tried to
untoward.
See, but only in the 10%
There's no
that we've
evidence of
seen.
Trump. Oh
so.
yeah, well, there's no evidence of Bill Clinton. I mean, there he is in Epstein's Island with an army of blurred out women in hot tubs, but there's no evidence of anything, guys.
This year that this
not
is a
the-
story about Trump and him,
it's
and
not
it's
the
going to
Bill
blow up
Clinton
in
I
story.
just want to
days.
get
It's
away
not
from
the
the
Bill
talking
Clinton
points and
story.
actually talk about the facts right now.
Honestly,
Yeah, it's the Bill Clinton files, ladies and gentlemen.
if I were a Democrat pundit, I wouldn't really speak. I wouldn't bend over backwards to try to deflect or protect Bill Clinton. Just as I said before, he does have a history of, you know, kind of deviancy. And I believe we just got, well, I don't know if it's a rumor, but I believe we found out through the emails that Hillary was cheating on Bill too. So, you know, it's like, whatever. At this point, the Clintons, you know, they're old, they're out of the picture basically. So I would not sacrifice how we're looking now in going too far to protect people who we don't necessarily need to protect. We meaning, like, if I'm thinking like a Democrat right now.
Never going back. We're never returning. Now, the crazy thing is, this is Joe Scarborough. He is not like a super Trumpy, for those of you unaware. And he's been cooking too.
One of the great mysteries to me and a lot of other people is we've had reporting for some time. Donald Trump is not on Epstein's list. There's nothing in there that's really damning about Donald Trump. And as Susie Wild says, not damning about Donald Trump.
According to the chief.
Or Bill Clinton. So one of the great mysteries all along in this, not been like, what's Donald Trump hiding? What did he do? It's like, why, if he's not in these files, which all the reporting says he's not, why is he so obsessed on blocking access to the files?
Yep.
Is he trying to protect somebody?
And that's
So
the
you got to
question.
the actual heart of the question, and it's actually not been reported. One of the reasons.
That's the question, and you're right. However, I love that even people in the news, like on the left, are pretty comfortable talking about how he's not on the list. They don't have anything about Trump. It's like, bro, what happened? What happened? Y'all were calling him a pedophile
Well,
a week ago. What happened, guys?
I mean, again, we only have, what did they say? They released 10%, right? So 10% of the files. Obviously, there is a lot to go through. And, I mean, I believe that if, again, 4 years with the Biden DOJ, if they had something on Trump, they would have released it. You know, that's not to say that that's definitive, 100%. Oh, well, they didn't release anything. Obviously, Trump's 100% innocent. I mean, I don't know. He does have a few things going for him where when he was mentioned, like in the emails, it seemed pretty clear that Jeffrey Epstein was trying to get his hooks into Donald, where he was, you know, he was talking about, the dog didn't bite, or the dog didn't bark, stuff like that, where he's talking in code, which to me it sounds like he was trying to get Donald Trump to do something bad or do something incriminating so that he could bring him into the fold. Because I think at this point, I don't think anybody's really gonna fight the idea that Epstein was working with, you know, probably the FBI and the Mossad to gather information, leverage against rich and wealthy and influential people, right? I think that's pretty much, at this point, just an accepted truth. And who knows, maybe stuff will come out that changes our perspective of it right now, but I think that's pretty just given how things are right now, pretty clear cut. So, I mean, he has that going for him, and he also has the fact that Trump threw him out of Mar-a-Lago. You know, I think that's pretty telling as well, where he was friends with him, was very good friends with him, and then they cut ties, right? And if Trump's going to cut ties and Epstein had dirt on him, you know, especially something like, I mean, talking about kid stuff, right? Like abuse, sexual abuse, whatever. That's, I mean, that ends your life, right? Like if you get caught, you get outed, like your career's over, you're going to jail. Public opinion will never sway back into your favor unless you're like Woody Allen for whatever fucking reason, or that other Roman Polanski? Is he another director? Yeah, you know, but those are artists, right? Like that's fine, whatever. So I don't know. I mean, again, we only have 10% of the files, but just in my opinion, leading into this, because obviously this is going to be, the way that they're dragging it out, this is going to be months and months and months of just releases, redactions, explanations, and honestly, I think Pam Bondi needs to get impeached and removed from office. I don't know necessarily thrown in jail, but maybe like pay a fine or something for violating the law that got passed, the Epstein Transparency Act. Kash Patel probably too. I don't know.
So Trump went nuclear over this.
Surprised by the number of photos of Bill Clinton in the Epstein files. And
I saw this.
Can you commit to their
By
full?
what?
And were you surprised by the number of photos of Bill Clinton in the Epstein files? And can you commit to their full release by the end of the year? Some of the victims were protesting that too many of them were redacted.
I know there are a lot of people that are angry about all of the pictures of other people, you know, but I think it's terrible. Look, I like Bill Clinton. I've always gotten along with Bill Clinton. I've been nice to him. He's been nice to me. We've always gotten along. Respect him. I hate to see photos come out of him, but this is what.
No, and by all accounts,
mostly
Bill Clinton is very charismatic, very friendly. He's kind of like a reincarnation of JFK in a way. Like that's how people describe JFK. Was like just within minutes of talking to him, you feel like he genuinely cares about you, that he is he's your friend, that he would take care of you if you needed it. Like, and there's just a certain magnetism or electricity, you know, with that charisma that you know, really paves the way for people to gain, you know, whether it's influence, money, business, and in this case, you know, Bill Clinton. There's a reason that he was in politics for so long. There's a reason why he was, you know, governor, president. It's because he was very likable, you know.
Democrats and a couple of bad Republicans are asking for, so they're giving their photos of me too. Everybody was friendly with this guy, either friendly or not friendly, but they, you know, he was around. He was all over Palm Beach and other places. The head of Harvard was his best friend, Larry Summers, and Bill Clinton was a friend of his. But everybody was. I actually threw him out of Mar-a-Lago, and as a, you know.
True. Big Orange over here was the only guy that threw him out of his house. That is true. But yeah, no. So anyway, bro's like, actually, what are you asking me for? What are you asking me? The Democrats wanted to expose these files. Yes, now Bill Clinton kind of under fire. It's looking pretty bad for him. You've been asking for it, guys. Bro, this is the craziest twist of all time. No one saw it going this way.
Thank you, Mr. President. Were you surprised by the number of photos of Bill Clinton in the Epstein files?
Pretty weird. But anyway, we have to look at, in my opinion, the important new drop is that the DOJ
okay, good. So we do get to see
and then they deleted it, actually. The DOJ removed the link to download Volume 8 after we began reporting on it. Oh my God, that's crazy. That's insane. That might be one of the biggest twists ever. So I'm excited to see what we have here. I didn't watch this video. I have no idea what we're about to look at. Now, you know my opinion. My opinion is that there are elite pedophiles and that everyone is trying to protect certain pedophiles. And I think that's disgusting. And every time you vote, you're either throwing a vote to the red satanic pedophiles or the blue satanic pedophiles. Ultimately, I personally prefer the satanic pedophiles that aren't trying to castrate my children and abort babies and let in infinite retards into our countries. Personally, not a big fan of that. However, important to note, the Bill Clinton files are diabolical. I'm excited to see what we have here. I just want to see powerful people going to jail. I'm a simple man. I just want to see
not
powerful
even
people going to jail.
Just one. Like, could we just have one rich and powerful person who did crimes against, like, humanity? Like, just one. Could we see one held accountable? Please.
FBI just accidentally released 11,000 Jeffrey Epstein files
And
that they had.
see, this is so funny too, because it's like the cockeyed optimist in me is like, oh, I wonder if this was a well-meaning person at the FBI who was like, oops, I'm gonna accidentally release the stuff that didn't get vetted yet, right? And then the cynic in me is like, oh, this is just another example of the FBI being like absolutely just poorly run and disappointing all around, you know?
Hadn't publicly put out yet, but we
Underqualified.
got access to them. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to access them. Here's what that
Not anymore. They're all deleted.
looks like.
I hate all the pedophiles. Oh, I do too. I want to see all these pedophiles literally strung up in the street. Public square. All right? Literally. You fucked the kid? Public square. Okay? I want to see public executions for these motherfuckers. Wood chippers. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is.
We joke about it, but I mean, obviously there's protections against cruel and unusual punishment, but cruelty and unusual, right? I feel like those have floating terms based on the current time, right? So, you know, back in, you know, the late 1700s, early 1800s, you know, public execution was still normal, right? Like there would be, you know, oh, deserters, yep, you're gonna get shot by a firing squad, or you're gonna get hung from the neck until you're dead. You know, think about the frontier even, right? So the late 19th century with the expansion westward and, you know, the famous, oh, there's the cowboy on the scaffold and, you know, they got to save him before he gets hung. So where that was commonplace, and then as society, quote unquote, became more civilized, it became less common. But honestly, I think for child predators, I think that if it is proven without, like, beyond a shadow of a doubt that, you know, crimes were committed against minors, especially of a sexual nature, I think that those cases should be expedited. And yeah, like I would genuinely support bringing back public executions for those people, or at least televised. You know what I mean? I think that in a lot of ways we've become too rigid, and then we've become too lax, where, you know, just recently we've seen, I don't know, like 5 or 6 high profile cases now where people have been attacked. And oh, there was even one yesterday where there was an older lady in, I believe, Seattle, and she's blinded in an eye now because she got hit in the head. From the picture, I couldn't tell it was like some sort of a rod or a pipe or something, and she was knocked down. She's blind in her right eye now, and this dude had a rap sheet as long as your arm, where it was just catch and release, catch and release, catch and release, you know. And I'm not going to say the ethnicity of the man that did this, that had committed so many crimes. It was a black man. Not that that matters, but, you know, we saw it with Irina. We saw it with the lady in Chicago, the girl on I think the blue line, who got doused with like gasoline or kerosene and lit on fire. I mean, at some point you got to look at this and look at these rogue judges, and it's like, no, we've become too lax as a society. Like, is there a criminal justice problem in America? Yes. In terms of profiling, in terms of disproportionate population, but then it's like, if you do the crime, do the time. Like, especially if you're repeat offenders, you know? And these guys where it's like, oh, 16 cases, 21 cases, 60 cases. That's nuts. That is in no way, shape, or form acceptable. Like, what are we doing? You're just, all that you're doing is propagating pain and creating more victims. Like, I can't get my head around it. And maybe that's because I'm not suicidally empathetic. You know, I try to maintain degrees of logic at all times, and, you know, I'm not perfect, but it's like, I cannot put myself in that mindset where I would think that that's acceptable. I don't know.
You know, just the obvious note is, not everyone in these files is going to be a pedophile. So, you know, you can't just immediately vilify everyone, even if they are in these files. But, dog, y'all knew what was happening. Get out of here. You all knew what was going on, okay? Please. Jeffrey Epstein's out there writing messages. I'm going to procure a young one for him. What are we doing, man? Get out of here. Get out of here.
Volume 8 of the files, but you can see right now that they've only released 7 data sets. And so myself, the guys at Jmail, and the guys at DropSite, we've been investigating that.
Yeah, Jmail, for those of you who are unaware, Jmail is like Gmail, except it's for the Jews. It's Jewish mail. Okay. It's basically how the Jews control everything. That's how it works.
It's like a Discord server. Okay.
First we control the weather. Then
it's
we
like
control
a Discord server for circumcised individuals. Got it.
I partnered with them to kind of look at some of these files, and they got access to volume 8 early. You would just type it in the URL. It wasn't like indexable on search, but you could just type in the specific URL and it would just come up. You could download the entire zip file, and that's what we did. We've been looking through it. I want to go over some of it because I believe some of what we've seen directly contradicts the FBI's earlier statement that, there's no evidence, or we did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. That's what they told.
Dude, that's what I want. That's what I want. Get some of those third parties out of there. Every single pedophile, I don't care who it is, get them out. All of them. Oh my God, stop protecting them.
Told us, right? They said, we've already looked through the files. You don't need to see the files back in July. Of course, all the pressure has made them now start releasing some of the stuff.
Now, I do believe that Kash Patel tried to explain why there wasn't like credible evidence, and it was because of injunctions placed by like a New York circuit judge and somebody else, right? Where it was like they had injunctions that were preventing certain methods or like how deep they could get with their investigation. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. Don't quote me on that one though.
We believe that this was slated for release, but remember, they weren't going to release all the...
Isn't the fact that we have to choose between the red pedos and the blue pedos a sign that the system is broken? The system is broken!
Newsflash.
The system is broken, but what am I supposed to do about it? Give up and kill myself? Get out of here, man. All right, like, come on, you have to live in reality. Right? This is the complaint I have with some of these people of being like, well, actually, I really hate both parties, so therefore I'm not going to vote. Is that really going to help? Get out of here, man.
All the files yet. They had to hold some back. Well, we believe that these 11,000 files are part of what they held back, because clearly they...
Yeah, just to be clear, though, I don't think Trump is a pedophile. I think there's extensive evidence that exonerates Trump so far. Look, I'm waiting. I am waiting for something real to come out. I'm trying to be as open-minded as I can here. The reality is there's really nothing on Trump so far.
No, I agree, and I'm not Trump's biggest fan or anything. I agree with Nux here, except... Well, no, not except. But, yes, if... like credible, without a doubt, evidence comes out, I'll be the first one to pick up a pitchfork. You know what I mean?
hidden. Maybe there's nothing there, but there's nothing on Trump so far.
Aren't out, and clearly they were ready because a lot of these are redacted. I mean, already you can see we found several files that were once again over 100 pages of redacted information. So it was all ready to.
Dude, this is such a slap in the face. Such a slap in the face. They're not just protecting victims here. They're protecting pedophiles too, and there's no other way to say it.
Be released. It's unclear why it wasn't, but let me caveat before we get into the material that this is a breaking story, and as such, I'm sure there's going to be some pieces of information that we are interpreting or trying to interpret live, and because of that, I want to warn you to withhold your judgment on some of this stuff until we get more evidence. I'm sure the president's going to be asked about some of this stuff. I'm sure Todd Blanche, Pam Bondi, they're going to get asked about this because it is extremely damning, I think, what we see in some of this. Specifically, I want to draw your attention immediately to the 10 co-conspirators.
Cause, dude, Kash Patel needs to go away. He needs to go to jail. I'm sorry, he needs to go to jail. I'm not like a Kash Patel hater or anything. All right, this isn't coming from a place of racism.
Well,
but dude literally swore under oath that there were no other co-conspirators.
Well, he didn't say that there were no co-conspirators. He said that there was no credible evidence that they could use due to previous investigations, like whatever that bullshit was. I'm 90% sure. I do agree, though. I don't think Kash Patel has really worked out as the FBI director. You know, the fact that, you know, the Charlie Kirk assassination, it was his family who turned him in, right? The FBI didn't find him, had like no leads, weren't able to identify him. The what was the Brown shooter. The Brown shooter. It's like I get that the university was responsible for a lot of that because they didn't have cameras on. They seemed to have flubbed it in every single way possible. But it was a homeless guy who discovered or noticed the shooter at the university, and then it was somebody else who found out, like, oh, it's the storage unit, right? It's like it wasn't the FBI. So you're just like, what? Oh, and then but in the same thing with the Brown shooting, it was the they claimed that they had the suspect in custody, and it's just some random white guy, and it's like, oh, we got him. It's like, dude, maybe don't jump on Twitter right away. You know what I mean? Like, wait a minute, vet it, say that you have a suspect in custody, and that you're, like, don't say, we got the motherfucker, and then be like, oh, yeah, we might have ruined this guy's life because now he's, like, front page news, and I don't know. And then just, I personally, it really bothers me, the whole, like, private plane stuff, too. Or not private plane, it's a public plane. It's a government plane. With his girlfriend, where it's like, you know, I understand that the job comes with perks. You know, I mean, best healthcare that you could possibly have, really generous payment packages, just the prestige as well of being, like, able to say, oh, I was the director of the FBI. There's not a lot of people who can say that. You know, there are less people who can say that than there are Olympic medalists. Even Olympic gold medalists, right? So it's a very exclusive group. It's very prestigious, but it's that terrible thing about power corrupting, where, you know, before you get into that position, you act and speak one way, but then as soon as you get that power and you get that money and you get the ability to, in my opinion, irresponsibly use government equipment or whatever. So you're using your airplane, you're flying all over the place, and it ultimately comes back to the taxpayer. So it's like, once you get in there and you get that taste, and it just, you know, you start making exceptions, and then you're just another bureaucrat. So it's been very disappointing to watch that happen, and it really, I'm surprised that Dan Bongino didn't leave earlier, because I think out of that whole cabal that's in there right now, I I do believe that Dan was genuinely the most like well-meaning. So it's disappointing. I imagine he was very disillusioned. Which I mean, I want to say he had floated the idea of quitting earlier anyway. So I think he just had this uphill battle, and he's probably just given up, you know, which is really sad to see just anybody give up.
I'm going to find that clip right now. Dude, look at this.
None. If there were, I would bring the case.
No, but he qualified the statement credible.
None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Okay.
There's no credible information.
Yeah. So bro literally under oath said that they trafficked people to no one. They trafficked people to nobody. All right?
Well,
you liar. What are we doing?
But credible matters, right? Where of the 10 co-conspirators, 3 have been located in Florida, served subpoenas, whatever. So they've already been subpoenaed. And this was back in 2019. So it's like, oh, did they cut deals? Can they not be prosecuted now because they turned or provided information? Like, were they named? Where were they named? Is it named in a credible source, or is it like, we don't know? And maybe I'm giving them too much benefit of the doubt. And I understand wanting to kind of jump on this and be pissed off, which, I mean, I am about the whole situation, but for me personally, I want to make sure that I have every justifiable reason to get pissed off and just mauled, you know, before I actually do it, because it's exhausting. So I'd rather save it, you know, keep one in the chamber.
No, this is damning. Get the wood chipper. You know, honestly, everyone that protects pedophiles crucified by their penis. That's what I decided.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be gory here or anything. I just feel like it's important. All right? I'm just saying. I don't know how much direct information Trump has on all this, or if he's just expecting the Department of Justice to do this. But like, bro, we need it. First of all, Bondi and Patel need to go straight to jail. The entire CIA and FBI apparatus needs to be completely shredded and reconstructed from the ground up. That place is toxic. Oh my God. You know the last person that said to do that, by the way? You know the last person that said we need to destroy and recreate the CIA from scratch?
JFK.
You know the last person that said that? John F. Kennedy, before he was assassinated. Anyway.
That are mentioned in some of these emails in 2019. Now, this is just alarming stuff, because prior to this, remember that all we really had was Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
That's what they kept saying. Oh, that was it. They were just trafficking people to nobody, which is the obvious lie.
People who have ever faced any charges at all. Ghislaine Maxwell, the only one who actually faced consequences, right? But in 2019, apparently,
Jeffrey Epstein faced consequences too. Someone killed him, and that someone that killed him probably was himself.
Of course,
obviously, he killed himself. That's right. Wiley was supposedly on suicide watch. He killed himself in a cell with cloth.
Let's not kid ourselves. Ghislaine Maxwell is in a country club prison. You know, she was, I believe, given a dog. Like, she has a puppy that she's like taking care of for emotional support and whatnot. She is not suffering. She's not in, you know, a 5x8 cell or something. She is in a cushy luxe country club, white collar style holding cell. Like, it's not true justice whatsoever.
That he wasn't supposed to have, with video cameras that didn't work, with security guards that weren't at their stations, with 1 minute of footage missing from the prison, and he killed himself.
Apparently, there were 10 co-conspirators. Now, the people who were sending this to and from have been blacked out, but at the bottom we see that this is the violent crime section, crimes against human trafficking unit.
That's pretty bad.
And we can see that of the 10 co-conspiratures, 3 have been located in Florida.
Where are those
served
subpoenas?
Grand jury subpoenas, 1 in Boston, 1 in New York City, 1 in Connecticut were served. 4 out of the 10 are outstanding, with attempts having been made. What is a wealthy businessman in Ohio?
Oh my
A lead
God.
is being sent to CV, and the remaining 3 are currently out of pocket. This is stunning stuff. Previously, we did not know how many co-conspirators were suspected of, or I'm not aware of anything like that.
No, this is one of the biggest lore drops ever. This is one of the biggest moment, I think, in this entire investigation. Like, everyone's been saying that there's no one else, it's just the two of them. Now, we happen to have a lot of photos with him with rich people because he happened to know everybody. He knew everybody, but it's not like he was trafficking children to any of these people. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy.
And additionally, some of the details on this are revealed.
Dude, I have to say, all the public bitching, people like CoffeeZilla over here, like me, like Asmongold, you know, like Moist Critical, us retards on the internet that are actually talking about all this. I think we annoyed them into submission. Like, it's the retards that put pressure on the government that honestly got this
definitely
out.
helped.
The public outcry was so bad. Internet annoying bastards are real journalism, ladies and gentlemen.
Later,
like, CNN is just sitting there, Trump is bad, Trump's a pedophile because of Epstein. And then you have people on Fox News being like, no evidence Trump did anything. We don't even need to talk about Epstein. And then you have us retards on the internet, ladies and gentlemen.
Because we see this subject line, it says co-conspirators at the top, and it says blank does not need to head out. We made contact with blank last night in New York City. Blank last night in New York. Contact was made with blank, blank, and blank. By the way,
it's officially confirmed that blank is a pedophile. I think we should just lock blank up immediately.
Arrest blank.
Can I just say that none of this is protecting
victims? None of it.
Once again, they said that the redactions in these files would be protecting victims. None of these people are victims. Blank does not need to head out. We made contact with blank last night. I'm pretty sure blank isn't, you know, Susie, the 15-year-old that was trafficked. No. This guy's a billionaire in New York. All right? Get out of here.
New York, contact was made with blank, blank, and blank. By the way, I love how these potential co-conspirators are people who are being blacked out. Like, why? I thought the whole point of this was
exactly
you couldn't redact people for personal information.
It's like I was about to say like a name, but it really sounds like I'm calling them a pedophile. So I'm just making it clear, I'm not calling the following person a pedophile. Okay? I'm just saying, I am not calling the following person a pedophile. But this is like Bill Gates. Okay? This is like Bill Gates or something. All right? That's who's in this. That guy's not a victim. All right? Or Bill Clinton or one of these motherfuckers. All right?
Yeah,
my God.
Information reasons or for public embarrassment.
It's definitely, I mean, they said it in there, wealthy. Definitely somebody who's wealthy, who has influence. And I don't know. It's so frustrating because it's like, you know, the original excuse that Trump said was that he didn't want people who weren't actually guilty of bad things but were mentioned in the files to catch all the flack and like be associated with all the bad shit that went down. And part of me understands that, but I'm in this situation where it's so deeply rooted, you know, into politicians and donors and businessmen and everything else. I think it's more machete versus scalpel. You know, like I would rather go at it with a shotgun and cause collateral damage and then fix it later in order to get all of them. The guilty ones. Like I would rather take out an additional, you know, reputationally, I mean, I'd rather take out, you know, 8 extra people for every one actual guilty person, and then have to go through and sift through and be like, oh, this person's okay, this person's okay, this person's okay, but we got this one. I'd rather do that in order to catch every single pedophile motherfucker who was involved in whatever heinous shit was going on.
Act on the basis of it being a victim, and I'm not sure how these people could
They aren't.
possibly be victims here.
Completely true. Completely true. We're only redacting the victims. You liars. You liars, bro.
Files Transparency Act prohibits...
It was just an update to the Epstein DLC where there's a video of him killing himself on Twitter. No, there isn't.
No, it's an old one. It's fake.
Nope.
Redactions, quote, on the basis of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity. Has anything been redacted on that basis?
Absolutely, positively not.
But anyways, you can see that...
Liars, bro. Get out of here. Victims of blackmail after they rape children. Bro, that's not a victim. I'm sorry, bro. That is not
Oh
a victim,
shoot, yeah,
man.
victim
Actually,
of blackmail
technically,
because they were being blackmailed. We didn't say which victims we were gonna protect. Listen, they were being blackmailed. That makes them a victim.
That rapist pedophile, but also I'm a victim because I'm
Oh my
being
God.
blackmailed for raping kids.
Imagine if that's the loophole.
Stop. No, I don't think that works, man. You know, like, I respect the grind, brother, but I really don't think that works. Holy shit.
That it says attempts were made to Blank and Brunel. That's Jean-Luc Brunel, the famous who's now dead. Blank is confirmed to live in New York, was away for the holiday weekend. We did not have a good address, but an attempt was made in New York. Attempts are made to Maxwell today. Blank, you get it. Like, it's already, all the people they suspected this whole time are redacted, of course. And they say, I do not know about Ohio contacting Wexner. Now, that's a reference to Les Wexner, the former CEO of Victoria's Secret. This is huge. We've long suspected that he was, of course, one of the co-conspirators. And obviously...
But they said that there was no one else.
The fact the FBI suspected it isn't a 100% proof confirmation, but clearly they were serving grand jury subpoenas. I mean, that must be who they're talking about, one wealthy businessman in Ohio, because later it's confirmed by this whole idea of Ohio contacting Wexner. And you can see at the bottom, this is from the FBI New York. When you get a chance, give me an update on the status of the 10 co-conspirators. This is really
crazy.
bad to know
this is
that
really
we
bad.
knew as early as 2019, the right people to target, and yet our FBI, who's had evidence of this the entire time, or leads on it, has declined to prosecute, right? Because this is what the FBI now tells us. Oh, don't bother. Don't worry about it. That's what they wanted us to believe in July. Fast forward.
All right, so I found this footage that you were telling me about.
It's not real, it's fake.
Disturbing footage. DOJ Epstein files includes a 12-second video from Epstein's cell suicide. This video is fake, computer-generated recreations.
Yeah, back in
DOJ
2020,
via email.
2021.
Not official surveillance footage. It's a 4chan recreation. That's not real. Anyway.
For December, we find out there's 10 guys that they knew about since like 6 years ago. You know, it's insane.
Yeah, no, that's the craziest thing. You have like these 10 co-conspirators or whatever, and we're just letting them wander around. We're literally just letting these guys wander around. Now that Jeffrey Epstein was caught, I don't know. Maybe they're paying some other influential billionaire, you know? It's crazy. That's insane. Absolute insanity.
Over here, we see that in one of the lawsuits, I believe this is with Maxwell, the government actually wanted to refer to people at trial as co-conspirators of the defendant, aka Maxwell, for the purposes of a rule. And then they say Jeffrey Epstein, and then there are two names listed there who are going to be listed as co-conspirators. Again, who are those people?
No, I think we absolutely have to know who those people are, man. We have to know who those people are. This is insane. Like, this is crazy. We're literally letting pedophiles wander around on our streets. Oh my God.
I think that this has been more damaging for the relationship between the government and the people than anything I can think of before, right? I mean, big things would be like Edward Snowden, right? With the NSA, we're all getting spied on, like, which I think most people kind of assumed, or, you know, there was always the inkling of like, oh, what, you know, how easy is it to like track text messages or phone calls or whatever, and like, you know, like you see spy movies and stuff where that's within the realm of like technological possibility, and you know, where they're remote tracing people's phone calls and all of that, right? Like, and then the fact that we were spying on our allies are spying on us, it's like, I feel like that was just common sense, that's what happens like in the world of espionage. I mean, I can't think of, I mean, maybe no WMDs in Iraq, right? No WMDs in Iraq, the potential election rigging or tampering in 2020, just as we've seen the Georgia Secretary of State's office released that, I mean, I think it was like 311,000 invalid ballots that they just, like, they didn't have the correct signatures on them for like witnessing, going from like the poll stations to the collection centers to the counting centers or whatever. Like, there's like a chain of evidence that you're supposed to have, and I guess they weren't correctly filed and didn't have the right signatures, right? And like, that's a pretty big deal. But I don't know, something about a satanic cabal of pedophiles being protected by the government, that just hits different than WMDs in Iraq. You know what I mean?
We were told that the only co-conspirator now is Maxwell, and if you don't believe that, you're crazy, you're a conspiracy theorist. But back in 2020, this was a idea not just promulgated by wackos, it was promulgated by who? The
Lawyers.
FBI themselves, the Department of Justice. Look at this. Co-conspirator question transcript. This is from USA NYS. They say, question, when Jeffrey Epstein died, a lot of people asked, who's next? Is the government gonna hold people who are accused of helping him recruit these girls? Are they gonna hold them accountable? And then the answer is, well, I'll note that the original charges against Jeffrey Epstein contained a conspiracy charge, and we allege that there were conspirators involved. Jeffrey Epstein couldn't have done what he did without the assistance of others, and I can assure you that our investigation is moving forward, except
it never moved anywhere, and then no one ever talked about this, and our government is cooked, and we are literally under the thumb of pedophiles, and we are literally paying our taxes to pedophiles, and pedophiles are arresting us for our crimes. Pedophiles are giving us parking tickets. Pedophiles are making our lives harder. Pedophiles are giving us all this bureaucracy. Every time you want a driver's license to renew, you have to go to the DMV and wait in line for 8 hours until someone that's hired by pedophiles gives you your driver's license. This is the craziest thing ever, man. This is crazy. All right? Illegal aliens invade your country, and then all the pedophiles get together to vote whether they should deport them or not. What are we doing, guys? Literally, what is happening?
I guess not. Against everyone except for Ghislaine Maxwell, it got killed. Like, Ghislaine Maxwell was the only one who faced justice, right?
I wonder if this is Biden's doing. I mean, not personally, but his administration. Like, leading up to 2020, under the Trump administration, Jeffrey Epstein was arrested and, killed himself, allegedly. And all that stuff happened, right? Then Biden comes in 2020. And then literally the entire case disappears. You know, Ghislaine Maxwell is considered the one person that did everything herself, and no one else was involved, and there were no co-conspirators, and it really seems like everything kind of disappeared and got buried there. And it was like, yup, it was just one bad pedophile lady, and that's it, and there's no co-conspirators. Like, it really does, again, look like a global, to use like Alex Jones terminology, like the globalist elites.
You know,
the globalist elites are covering.
Also kind of wonder, like, because it's passed through different administrations, so when they redact something and release it, and they put that, the black line, black box over, text or names or pictures or whatever, like, where are the master copies? Because they have to, right? They have to have master copies, so it's not like the Biden administration could have gone in and, oh, that's our donor, redact, that's our donor, redact. Unless they also deleted, like, master copies, like, all of the unredacted files. So, I don't know. And if that happened, we need to know that that's what happened, right? And I get that now, after all this back and forth, people aren't going to trust the word of the FBI if they say, hey, like, there are many of these files where the master copies were deleted by Biden's DOJ. I feel like that wouldn't be the case. I feel like that's a little too obvious, and they would have already said that, like, right away. So I don't know. I think it's just, both sides are in on it.
You have a giant pedophile ring. That's kind of what it looks like. Like, I know that, but I'm not trying to be controversial here, but that's literally what it looks like. The globalists are, I'm gonna throw up when I do that voice, but you know what I'm saying? That is totally what it looks like. Democrats kind of come into power, and everything shuts down. It's kind of scary, not gonna lie.
Except then she got moved to Club Fed, to this nice prison, right? And by the way, a whole interesting interview we saw happen with Todd Blanche, which is Trump's former defense lawyer. So he got grilled on Meet the Press about his relationship. Like, why did Ghislaine Maxwell go to this nicer prison immediately afterwards? And while he declines to comment on it, he says something very interesting.
Why was she moved just days after you interviewed her, Mr. Blanche?
That's a Bureau of Prison Security issue that I will not talk about.
Did you have anything to do with it? Did you have anything to do with it?
Let me finish. First of all, I am responsible for the Bureau of Prisons. So every decision that they make lands on my desk to the extent it needs to.
Wow,
but
that's
just
so
let me talk about the security issue. At the time that I met Miss Maxwell, there was a tremendous amount of scrutiny and publicity towards her, and the institution she was in, she was suffering numerous threats against her life. So the BOP...
Aw, poor girl.
Oh, generational pedophile got death threats. Oh, man. Burn the Constitution. Wow.
...is not only responsible for putting people in jail and making sure they stay in jail, but also for their safety.
All right, so he's like, yeah.
They're safe in jail. Oh, like, dude, what are we talking about?
Well,
Ghislaine Maxwell over here.
You're not safe in jail if you're in Gen Pop. That's just not true. But if she's kept in like solitary or at least like separate, she's perfectly safe. Like that's complete BS.
Never be allowed in public ever again. All right, she should be behind bars or worse for the rest of her life. This is like such a pathetic, like, gay situation. Well, we have to move Maxwell around because she's getting death threats. Well, yeah, she's probably getting death threats because she's a generation's biggest pedophile, probably.
Yeah, that's crazy. No, I'm not going to talk about that, but every decision lands on my desk. I mean, eventually he goes on to say that, oh, she was in so much danger. We were worried about her safety as a prisoner. I just got to say, there's a lot.
She's filing court papers trying to get her conviction overturned. Yeah, I saw that. That's crazy. That's insane.
A lot of concern about Ghislaine Maxwell. All of a sudden, I don't know where that came from.
We need Miss Maxwell to be comfortable. Miss Maxwell has a lot of information.
I mean, yeah, she
about
does.
A lot of people. We need to make sure she's comfortable, guys.
Get her a puppy.
About these
Get her a
conspirators
puppy.
that I guess we've swept under the rug, that we don't care about anymore since 2019. Guess we knew about them and didn't care. And what's even more concerning...
Who was president in 2019?
It's Trump.
Damn. Yeah, this is crazy. Trump, when they actually arrested all of the people. Who was president in 2020 when the investigation suspiciously ended and no co-conspirators were arrested? Like at the end of 2020. Who won that election? Well, maybe Trump also. Who knows these days?
Is our president also seems concerned with the wrong people. Like, while Todd Blanche is concerned about Ghislaine Maxwell's safety and well-being, you've got Trump concerned about the people who are going to be unfairly implicated.
Who was president in 1996?
Clinton.
Because a lot of you, maybe you didn't hear this. In 1996, they first accused Jeffrey Epstein of stuff, and the FBI apparently just closed the investigation suspiciously.
Well, yeah, he
Who
traded
was
info
president of the USA.
Like
was it
immunity
Clinton?
or something.
That'd be crazy. Of the USA in
It was Clinton.
1996. Oh boy.
Yeah,
Fuck, dude, it was
92 to
Clinton.
2000, right?
Oh no. Oh boy. Oh my.
A pattern emerges.
In the Jeffrey Epstein files, rather than worrying about how to catch the people that we obviously let go through the cracks.
The victims were protesting that too many of them were redacted.
I know there are a lot of people that are angry about all of the pictures of other people, you know, but I think it's terrible. Look, I like Bill Clinton. I've always gotten along with him. I've been nice to him. He's been nice to me. We've always gotten along. Respect him. I hate to see photos come out of him, but this is what the Democrats, mostly Democrats, and a couple of bad Republicans are asking for. So they're giving their photos of me, too. Everybody was friendly with this guy. I think it's a terrible thing. I think Bill Clinton's a big boy. He can handle it. But you probably have pictures being exposed of other people.
I really don't like
that
him
innocently
attacking
met Jeffrey Epstein
Massey
years ago,
over
many
this.
years ago.
I think it,
I'll be honest, he gets off track from here, but the
I
point
think
he was making
Trump
is
attacking Massey and Rand Paul for trying to push the Epstein files and try to get them released. I think it only makes Trump look worse. Like it does him absolutely no favors, in my opinion.
that those poor, innocent, bankers who are meeting with Epstein, the poor lawyers who are meeting with that, like all of Epstein's friends are just caught up in this unfortunate thing. And it's just such a reversal of what previously the DOJ and FBI believed. In fact, they believed it so much that they got a federal search warrant for the SDNY, and they got it, and part of the seizable data, part of the stuff that they commanded them to seize as part of the search warrant, which, by the way, I think you need some kind of standard of evidence for. I'm not a lawyer, you guys can chime in, but you can't just get a search warrant without some kind of evidence that you believe there's
a probable cause or whatever.
Crime.
Well, yeah, you need probable cause, and you also need I forget what it's called, but basically that what you are seizing or taking does in fact pertain to whatever crime is being suspected. So it's like like if you committed insurance fraud, the FBI isn't going to go into your apartment and like take hairs off of your hairbrush or something. I mean, maybe they can. Maybe there's just widespread, you know, blanket kind of, oh my gosh, blanket warrants or something like that. But I don't believe that's usually how it works. Like, you know, for this, it's almost certainly laptops, cell phones, like any stationery, like on the desk. It's mostly going to be things like that.
It says evidence concerning the identity or location of co-conspirators of Jeffrey Epstein, including blank,
Who's blank?
and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Bro, what? And why are they censoring this? This is so frustrating.
So again, who is blank? Well, they keep redacting the names of these co-conspirators.
I think you can see the first letter right here. Oh, I can't zoom on this. Oop. Oh, geez. Okay, whatever. I'll fix that later. Including S? Is that an S? I mean, it's all capitals, right? J. It's not a J. P-S. Yeah, I think it's an S. Like, we're just seeing the left right there and here. So who is that?
Why are they censoring this? This is so frustrating.
So again, who is blank? Well, they keep redacting the names.
Well, their first
of
letter
these
of their first name is S.
Uncharged,
We know
remember,
that.
And now
Go
they're
get
saying
'em.
we have no evidence to charge anybody. Clearly, they have.
Who saw this? This is crazy, man.
Had evidence for a search warrant, and it's just completely ridiculous.
Because now we're hearing that, like, you know, all these Congress people, none of them saw it. Who saw this? Who is censoring it? Who makes this decision to censor it? And who saw these? How many people saw these? It's so frustrating.
That some of this stuff is redacted and that we're viewing the rich and powerful people who are mentioned as the victims here. Now, that's all I want to talk
So
about.
anyone in the Jew cabal watching this video, I want into the Jew cabal. I want to know. I want to know. All right, to all the Jews that are controlling society, reach out, please. Please. I'm curious. My
Ditto.
lips are sealed.
Well, my
All
lips
right,
aren't.
listen.
Sorry.
Well, for now, remember, this is a developing story, so there's, I'm sure, going to be more evidence that comes out. I will try to keep you updated. I'm probably going to cover more of this stuff in the future because there's so much here, but I had to get this out.
Don't do it, Nux. The cabal is woke. Listen, man, I just want to know who this is, bro. I just want to know. I have to know.
While it was basically not public yet, I mean, I think it's...
The atheist Jews don't like you either? Yo, Jew cabal. Jew cabal. Not so different, you and I. Not so different, you and I, okay? Want to know where I got these scars? Not so different, you and I. Okay, listen.
Actually going to be public when, we don't know.
I've kissed the wall, okay? I've done it. I've done the thing.
But you can access all of it at jmail.world. I'll leave a link in the description. They have a special
I might dig
drive
through it and
section.
see
The
if they
original
missed any
pitch was
other
it's like
hanging
email, but you logged in
letters.
as Jeffrey Epstein. Now they've made it like the entire Google account, so you can log into his Drive folder and all that kind of stuff. It's fun. It's a great UI, but more importantly, it makes it all very searchable, and you can look at it. I think you'll all really enjoy it.
Great.
I also wanted to give a special shout out to the Drop Site team. And finally, we just uploaded on CoffeeZilla. I don't
Great video,
like to
by the way.
upload the same day on both
For,
channels.
both
it
of
kind of
them.
cannibalizes views. This is such a breaking...
Yeah, it's just too important. No, that's crazy, bro. That's insane. What a wild ride.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. So my opinion is, all right, so yes, there are going to be a lot of people mentioned in the files that are innocent, that just knew Jeffrey Epstein because Jeffrey Epstein knew everybody. All right. That said, Jeffrey Epstein flaunted this debaucherous, disgusting shit so much. He had like these women sitting there and kneeling in his hallways. There are disgusting photos of kids everywhere on his lap and just disgusting stuff. Like, for real. So, like, in my opinion, y'all should have known. Y'all should have known what you were dealing with. Okay? Absolutely.
Some people,
Get
though,
out of
some
here.
people are really, really good at hiding things, you know? I mean, if you're just meeting him tangentially or not tangentially, but organically, like at a party or whatever, and you just know that he's a personage, like influential, knows a lot of people. I mean, he had financial clients, he had other stuff. So it's like, it makes you wonder, like, what people can have in their heart, you know, that they're hiding from the world, or from, you know, most of the world. But like, yeah, if you're close to him, I don't know how you wouldn't eventually pick up on him being kind of a creep, right? Like the story with Trump where he took like a 14-year-old or something and was like, oh, she's one of the good ones, isn't she? And then they apparently both chuckled about it. You know, enough of those kinds of things happen that you, like, the warning bells just have to go off at some point. So I get what Nux is saying here. But like, just out of the blue, like, you're not gonna know. I mean, he was what? He was active for 20 something years, you know, collecting dirt, doing this crap. Like, I don't know. Is it just like this giant secret to everybody who's not in the cabal? Like, I don't think so, but I mean, I hope not. I hope it's literally just like 10 co-conspirators and it's not like 100, you know, and they're all like ex-senators and donors and business people, and it's depressing.
So we need to know who all these redacted people are, and it's insane, and we will never stop pushing until that happens. We do. So my opinion is very simple. Literally kill the pedophile. Literally,
yeah.
Legally
and don't stop talking about this.
All right, legally, this is not a call to violence, but I want them crucified by their penises. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoy. I don't care who they are.
Yeah,
all
every
of them.
single one.
Every single one of them. Don't care who it is. All of them. Heads on pikes level of fuck these guys. And,
I agree.
Anyway, that said, still innocent until proven guilty. I've seen no evidence to say that Trump is a pedophile. I've seen tons of evidence to imply that the left is actually the people that are covering this shit up. It's really frustrating that we're living in a society where this bullshit is happening.
No, I agree. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's left wing, right wing. I don't care if it's somebody who donates to both either. I don't care if they're the only person in the world who's on the verge of curing cancer. You're gonna answer for what you did, and the only way that we can at least guarantee a modicum of justice is to keep talking about it, to not accept, you know, bullshit like, oh, where's my cursor? Let's see. Like this. What is this? Who is this? Who is S something? Like, this is a slap in the face of everybody. Not even just, you know, obviously it's affecting Americans the most, but everybody, because every right-minded human being should be against what these people were purportedly doing. And there are so few justifications that I would be willing to accept for withholding this sort of information from us. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what the future holds. Obviously, this is still developing. I'm gonna call it here. I'm probably gonna be looking at the files, and I'll look up that Jmail, the CoffeeZilla. I think it's CoffeeZilla, right? That was that he links in this video. Yeah, depressing stuff. Didn't really think about this kind of being my 2D debut about Epstein, and now I'm kind of like, oh, I want to be a little bit more whimsical. But hey, it is what it is, and I'm definitely not done digging into this. I'm gonna go through. I want to see if I can find any more hanging letters, and if there's something that could be pieced together. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.